So, Martin, I didn't, do you want to kick off with your question that you submitted?
Okay, hello, Ian. Yeah, it's basically in team management. I'm clicking on my other screen to remind me. In team management, when you come to allocate players to your playing squad, normally with the juniors and affiliated players, they're all affiliated and therefore available in the all club players. In the seniors, men and women, I've got all my registered players and I've got a load of others, but I haven't got every other person. I just wonder where these, in my case, 45 random names of some blokes in the 70s happen to be available for my playing squad. So it looks like it's a fault to me.
I've actually looked into a couple of those random ones, Martin, on your club, and they've actually previously registered at your club. So yes. These ones that are at the bottom, they're either ones that had the role of non-registered players, which we've yes. removed that role recently, or they were previously registered at your club and they're now inactive. So yeah. When adult player registration comes in for registration or affiliation, then those players will sort of be filtered and will drop off the system. So they'll they'll go off the system presently when that comes in. But as long as you're making sure that the playing squad, that's the one that just needs to be kept current and active with all your assigned effectively registered or affiliated players for that, so that you can then assign them to your match card. So that's the one that you need to keep up to date, your playing squad.
Yeah, I understand that. So basically, they've just been left there. They haven't been cleared out when we've either deregistered them or we're no longer able to.
No, yeah, you're right. They won't be removed
a non-registered player. So they're just stuck there, and I forget about them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just forget about them. And when adult registration comes in, then they'll be removed at that time.
Can't wait.
Okay, thank you. Brilliant. Next one.
Not me.
Great. So it was obviously it's a Q&A session, so expecting people to come on with some technical questions that they're struggling with on GMS, or we can show how to do a task, for example. So I'm conscious there's a lot of people on the call. So
here. Has anything okay, sorry.
So if you've got a question, then we can go from there. Just come off mic and ask.
Just before we go, Angie, can you hear us and see us?
It says she's connecting, so
yeah. If not, we're recording this session, so she'll get a copy of the recording afterwards. Okay. So
okay, cool.
I had a bit of a question. I didn't put it on the form, that when we're removing individuals from the system, from the GMS system, if they're in as a registered player, we have to first off go and unregister them, which means that you've got to log into the registration scheme to unregister them. It logs you out of the GMS, and then you've then got a 12-hour gap before you can remove them off the system. Can't we make that simpler with maybe a couple of tick boxes when we want to remove them?
That will be simpler when adult player registration comes in, so you won't have the two systems to navigate between them. So yes, that is coming when adult player registration comes in. So yeah, we're aware of that that nuance there. Deregistration, though, you probably will still have to wait for adult registration if that's part of the regulations. So we can check into that, as there are some business rules that still will stay, that will still remain. I'm not sure if the adult deregistration, you have to wait 24 hours, will still remain as a business rule. But we are removing the logic there that you have to log into one system and go into another. So that will be removed. Make it easier for you. Oh.
Thank you.
Dave, do you have a question?
I think Martin got his hand up.
Yeah, Martin, you got your hand up?
Okay, I'll go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to monopolise it. Something I've raised on the platform for Rugby Forum is about deceased players, persons, not too many players, where someone dies sadly, and the club member and I remove from the club. What they don't do is get removed from the RFU database.
Yeah, you're correct.
How do we sort that out?
Yes,
So that's
a simple one. Yep.
So that would be something that the club has to come through to us on the service desk. So in order for them to be deleted from the database altogether, it needs to come through to us, and we'll do sort of a deletion request across the whole system. In terms of, are you right there, Dave?
Yeah, I'm just saying, wouldn't it be better just to change his status to deceased, because that does it, and you can do that with the club.
We can do that, and I can show you how to do that. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
But if you want him removed from the system entirely, then that would be a deletion request that would have to come through on the service desk, and then we would put that through to our legal and governance team, who would then sort of check and make sure that all of their information is deleted across any platforms or any back end parts of the system.
Yeah, that option is better that Laura is saying, because David, if you just change the status, you run the risk that someone further down the line could just reenact that account, and it means that that person or family members could be contacted, which we don't really want to do if that person has unfortunately passed away. So Laura's one will be like a soft or a hard delete across all the systems, so they won't be able to be brought back very easily, so errors like that won't happen again, which we have had in the past.
Okay, back when it started, Max said that if you change the status to deceased, that automatically put that through for that to happen.
So it doesn't automatically delete them. Obviously, it updates the system and it stops things from getting sent to them and things like that. But obviously, when it comes to the data itself, some people prefer it to be removed entirely, in which case that would have to come to us. And that's the same for any kind of deletion request. That would have to come through to us, and that would have to normally, obviously if they're deceased, that's not possible, so it might be that a family member does it. Club potentially could be, we'd have to check with legal and governance on that particular instance, but normally it would have to be the individual that requested that as well, because that sort of comes under GDPR guidelines. Yeah,
okay, we've got quite a lot in our CB that, sorry, I'm monopolising. We got quite a few in our CB that are down as VPs, and we know they're deceased, but we haven't got any other details apart from what we originally had, and we may have picked it up in a newspaper or anything. So you know, they'll never go through that system. But what we'll do is we'll just mark them as deceased, which will get them out of our way. And to be honest, you won't be able to contact them anyway because they've only got dummy email addresses, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It became apparent the other week when we had the cock up when all the old members got reinstated back on the database, and suddenly I got 2 or 3 guys that I knew are dead, and I'd removed from my records, but they were still on your records. What I don't know, of course, is how many I've removed. I can't remember over the last 10 years how many I've taken out. I can remember half a dozen names, but so. You'll never know unless you send us a full list, and I can trawl through and delete them. They're going to get stuck there forever and a day, but as long as they don't come back to life and torment the family, I guess it's okay.
Yeah, that's the main thing, and you can always remove them as a relationship as well, which is sounds a bit savage in some cases, but again, it saves that whole thing of them logging on and having to see them if they have to affiliate children, things like that. So you can remove them from the family as well, to stop that from happening. But yeah, if that is the case where it does happen, then by all means drop us a message or drop a ticket, and we'll try and sort that for you through the legal and governance.
Okay, thank you.
Dawn, you've got a question?
Yeah, every so often I think my women's squad is increasing. Sometimes when I get notifications logging into my before I go to the team management page, there's on our club webpage, it says that there's pending affiliations in the women's team. Obviously, when I click on them and see the contact details, it's names that I've not been made aware of, and I know that I haven't registered them. Only a couple of times I've felt brave to contact them, and it usually ends up being a parent of a junior member. I was just wondering how best or who best to tell the parents what they need to do, because I'm unaware of if all the other admin of age groups register the players, because I know it's obviously now gone back to parents as well.
Yeah, so what a lot of time is, it is a case of a parent will log on to their own account and they'll click the button that says affiliate as player, and then they'll come through to you. So it's just about educating, I think, some of the parents and just saying, please don't click that button because you're going to affiliate yourself rather than your child.
Okay.
So yeah, there's no sort of, on our end, there's no sort of like fix because it's not really an issue and the system's working as it should be, but it's just maybe a little bit of education, maybe because we've got those solution guides as well around age grade affiliation and the steps and processes, which I can post on the chat shortly. And again, I'm a coach myself, and I have this same issue with my own parents, and they're like, "Do I put it?" No. So what I tend to do is put in all the solution guides that they need, step by step, so they're aware of what's happening. And then obviously, if they add themselves, then there's only so much you can do as an administrator or a registrar to actually stop them from doing that. So yeah, I understand your frustration with that, but a lot of the time it is just a bit of education and a bit of going, no, stop pressing all the buttons and seeing what works.
Okay, thanks.
That's all right. I'll post those on there for a moment. One sec.
I mean, we have made some changes in that space over the last couple of years of age grade affiliation. So, you know, we've made it affiliate as a player, and it comes up with their name on the player registration form. So if anybody's got any other suggestions on how we can prevent the small cases of those, you let us know, you know, log a ticket with feedback, and we'll happily look into that if anyone else has come up with any other suggestions to prevent those. But as Laura said, it is a few cases of people just clicking willy-nilly as such.
We all do it. Press all the buttons and see what works.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yep.
You may.
The affiliation of senior players, I know, is going to cause an issue with existing players registering their own children under the same email address and then forgetting their log-on details. Is there a quick guide that's published that I can just point them to say, this is how you reset your log-on, this is how you affiliate to the first team, and this is how you pay your membership fees?
Yes, there are guides all on the help portal for literally all of those. So we can put some links in the chat here for you.
Yeah, I do struggle to find them. That's that. If I'm struggling, I guess they will. That's what I'm.
Yeah, when you log on to the help portal, it's got that little "How can we help you" search bubble, and all you need to do is just put in like a word, and there's quite a lot that have tag words associated with
Okay.
them. So, for example, if you just put in email, it'll come up with like unique email. You know why we ask for that. It'll come up with not receiving emails. We've also got a new help portal article that's been on there a few weeks, so you might not have seen it, and that is updating adult player details, so that will have a few details on there. So I'll put some of those links in the chat for you now as well.
So the expectation is that every adult male player and female player will be registered on GMS at some point.
Yeah.
So if they're playing level 8 rugby and they forget to do it the week before they play, it's not an issue at the moment, but the expectation is that they sign next week. Is that
There will be some leeway, as with the current registration. So there will be some leeway as to when they have to register. But yes, it will be that adults will need to register as with the age grade affiliation process. As you mentioned with the emails, as children under 18 currently don't require emails, we've updated the system now, I think last month or the month before, so you can actually delete emails off of child records. So when the adult comes to log in, because they'll need their own unique email, they can't share email addresses. So when they come to log in for adult registration, it'll be a nice, easy and smooth process for them. So they can just log in and affiliate themselves or register themselves, sorry. So yeah, you can go through now sort of in this period that we've got, and you can basically remove the emails from children that are under 18 that are currently sharing them with their adults. So that when the adults come to log in, it will be a smoother process for them.
So are you asking us to do that as a club, or are you asking me to ask each individual to do that?
It's up to you. We have got this time before adult registration comes in, so club admin can take this time to sort of tidy up their club database. Laura's put a link in there for updating player registration. So it's got all the details on there for you, but you
Okay.
can also send a bulk email to all your adult players and sort of get them sort of ready for when that's coming in.
And so what you've just said is available in the help portal, is it, on how to do all
let me
this?
put I'll put the link in for you now. Let me find it and I'll put the link in for you now. So,
Thank you.
cool.
I'm just going to go to Angie's question because I can see she's typed.
Hiya, I'm here actually. I managed to get in.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, no, sorry if it's already been covered, but yeah, we had an unsubscribing question because we had a family that it was a bit of a tricky situation, had a safeguarding issue. Family was asked to leave the club. What I failed to do was then remove them off of our GMS, which meant that they got some internal promotion about stuff to do with the club, which obviously annoyed them a lot. They then said, and I tried to unsubscribe and it never works. And so how do we get around that issue of allowing people to have their own choice of whether they receive stuff or not?
So with regards to the consent on there with the tick boxes, that is explicitly for any communications from the RFU. That is not from the club. And then that's a lot that we get quite a few tickets on that. So
Right.
those unsubscribe boxes are any sort of thing, anything from the RFU, advertising.
Okay. Right then.
That's that kind of thing. So if it's a case of you don't want to contact them anymore, that would have to be done through the emailing system. So it might be that if I see if I can get it up, or if not, what I could.
Yeah, I was about to say, just to clear that up for people. I mean, I can't remember what it says, but if there isn't anything there, is there any possibility of putting in just a simple thing to say unsubscribe will only subscribe you from GMS? If you don't want club things, please contact your club to be removed. To kind of
that's certainly a suggestion. So it does say on there it's from the RFU, but then obviously that, when you see it from GMS, you assume it's from everyone. So it could be something that we put in as a change request. If you want to be removed, if you do not want to hear from your club any longer, please request this from your club. From your club directly. Yeah, no, I think something like that would be really helpful, because I think it irritates people if they think that we're failing on our GDPR, which we're not, and it's a difficult one. No, we get a few tickets, and that's a really good suggestion actually, and I'll put that forward. Okay. Just two other small things. One thing is, obviously, as we're all volunteers, we're often working on the hop. We might be answering something in lunch break, we might be on the bus, we might be at home. And what I get quite a lot is when I try to log on, it starts working and then it logs me out because it says I'm already logged on somewhere else. But surely if I'm logged on my home computer and then I open it on my mobile, it should allow me to disconnect and reconnect. But it means that I can't work out where I'm logged on and then I can't do anything. Yeah, it can be a bit of a tricky one because it can be a number of things. I don't know whether, Steve, are you able to sort of elaborate a little bit more on that from the FSI side of things?
Yeah, I mean, if you log on to another device, it should log you off of any previous device. It kind of sounds like a bit of a cookie issue with the device you're using, possibly. Well,
it does it on my laptop when I'm at the club sometimes, and it does it on my mobile when I'm out and about.
Have you tried clearing your cache before when you get that message? Does that work?
I have done on other occasions. I'm not quite understanding on cache things. I'm always worried that when I clear caches, I clear lots of other things for other useful things that I don't want to clear. On my computer and things, but yeah, I could always try that, but it's just I just wondered if it was a generic problem that's being looked into, or if it is actually user problem as opposed to system problem.
It's not certainly not something I'm aware of. We get a lot of reports. I don't know if it's down to a specific device. I mean, you could always raise a ticket and we're happy to look into it.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay.
And you're definitely not doing it on a hotspot, are you? You're definitely not sharing your mobile hotspot. Okay.
No. Okay.
Book a ticket and we can look into that for
All
you.
right.
When next time you get it, grab some screenshots and then send it through so we know the time and the date when it happened.
Okay, will do. And just the other one thing is there anything in the future for a GMS app?
Yes,
Because
it is. Yes.
doing it with
We've
parents
heard
and
you.
plus is a bit of a
Although GMS is currently optimized for mobile devices, we have had people the feedback and we have taken that on board. So it is something that we're looking at. So watch this space.
okay.
I don't want to give away any dates because we haven't got a confirmed date yet, but we are actually looking into that as we speak now.
Okay. And just one other feedback from quite a few people. Some people manage GMS really well. Some people find it very confusing. I think it's just an individualistic thing. You know, the green bits that come up when it's affiliation at the top, there's like a green box with, do you want to affiliate this? Do you want to? It seems that there are it seems that there's like multiple ways of doing the same thing. And I often wonder if that just confuses people. And I just think, you know, if you could log on and the first thing it says is, who are you and what do you want to do? I'm a parent, I want to register my kid.
Yeah.
I'm a senior player, I want to register myself, but I want to pay my kids membership. And all these green things kind of distracts, I think, from what people want to do. And then they all click, they just try everything and get in a mess.
Yeah, we can take that on board and look into that. We are actually looking at, as Platform for Rugby develops, we are looking at a user portal, and that will be more defined for personas. So you've got parents, you've got coaches, and you know it'll lead them to literally what you've sort of said. So scenarios or actions that they need to do. So we have taken that on board, and it is something that we're looking into. But it's not a quick fix. But yeah, hopefully when Platform for Rugby, when there's more developments with that, you'll see something along those lines.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. Thank
you. I think we had Chris had his hand up next. Chris, are you there? You need to. You're
finding the unmute button, I think.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon. Just a couple of points on the self-help portal. Is it possible to make it more clearer? Obviously, I find one of our colleagues on the Facebook group asked a question yesterday, and I just typed it into Google and I responded. But the little icon with somebody with headphones on doesn't really tell me much. It probably indicates to me that I'm going to talk to somebody rather than do a search on the portal. So I don't know whether it could be made more prominent or more clearer, because obviously that'll save a lot of issues with parents.
So do you mean like the little icon
at the top? Yeah, you know, where you have your club badge once you've logged in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. So maybe just a little change of icon to make it a bit more user friendly as to what they're getting themselves into it for. It
seems to me that frequently asked questions sections on any website is probably the most hardest thing to ever find. And a lot of the questions that we get asked can be found. People just need to, you know the direction where to go.
There is on most on most pages on GMS, there is a little question mark icon, which is what we would have wanted as the icon, but that was already taken, and that basically brings in an in-page, like a slide panel, and that usually has the most relevant information about that page, and in most cases it has links to the GMS help portal articles. So we are constantly reviewing that. We've got another one to do that, review that before at the start of this season as well. So we did a big one last year.
So it's just that we're talking about human race here. We need to simplify things because we just get the same question time and time again. And sure enough, once they find it, then obviously hopefully it stays with them.
But if you let us know which ones, if you can raise a ticket and let us know which of the common ones that you get asked, we'll ensure that there's the in-page help topic is on there with the actual relevant article, so we can do that for you.
Sure, because they're obviously good stuff. The other thing is on the particularly with children, can it be done that when they're coming in on registering, that there are certain elements on the information required that has to be answered? Now, the reason why I'm asking that is like medicals. You know, there's lots of kids where it's got no medical problems at all. A simple NA would, help. Because obviously when we go on there, I'll do the rugby safe stuff as well, for both club and county. But when I look and it says no medical history and we've got like 50 kids, well, why is it telling me we've got no medical history when we don't? If they haven't got anything, they won't put anything in the box. If you follow. So I
Not
don't know
really,
whether
no,
that-
because when you fill in the player registration or the player affiliation form, medical conditions is mandated, and they either have to put yes, and then they have to fill in what it is, or they put no. So those are the two options.
Why am I seeing then on? I think it's on summary that it says medical history and a number.
It might be old legacy ones. So if there's any that have been affiliated in the previous 2 seasons, medical conditions had to be filled in. If you've got anyone older than that still on the system, then those are the ones where it's old legacy data or it's bad data. So those are the ones that you need to go around and complete. If you go onto your player management dashboard, there is actually new widgets, and it will say which ones are, what players are actually missing medical details, emergency contacts. So you can work your way through and reach out and contact those players to get them to fill it in, or you can get the information and fill it in yourself. So if you have, like, say, 20, you can get that down to 0 by just working through it.
Brilliant. So would the same apply then to things like where you've got children with no parental contact, as it were?
Well, at the moment,
would that be legacy stuff?
At the moment, under 18s aren't able to affiliate, so it has to be done by an adult account that is over 18. So yes, children at the moment won't be able to affiliate or register to play without having a linked parental account.
Okay.
And that's been there for the last 2 seasons. So if you've got any children that haven't got linked to an adult, then obviously you can link them up yourselves in the account, but they won't be able to affiliate or renew moving forward without having a linked parental or guardian account.
Okay, brilliant.
And again, any issues, feel free to raise a ticket on the help desk.
Yeah, I shall. Yeah.
Cool.
Lovely, thank you.
I think it was Dawn next.
We've had a couple of instances where our under 18 girls have either gone to university and then come back, or stayed at the club, and it's been quite a difficult challenge to be able to find them on the system, because again they would have had a parent email, but once they're over 18, trying to then not re-register them because they've already been given an RFU number and their details are still the same, i.e. home address, etc. It would just be a case of being able to communicate with them because they're over 18 to get a new email. Trying to find them with sometimes the search of just the date of birth and the surname of the individual, it does flag it up, but then I've not always had an easy route to try and then just affiliate them to be part of the women's team and then obviously assign them to the women's team. Is there something that I'm doing wrong there, or?
No, it is something that we're aware of, and we have recently relaxed the rules for club searches, so that should help you when you're searching for people. There is also, if they're 17, about to turn 18, then obviously they can put their own email addresses in there rather than having the adults one as well. And it is something that we are reviewing at the moment for this season, is the adult transition into adults. So it is something that the age grade team are looking into, how we can make that transition smoother and easier, with adult player registration coming on board, how we can make that transition easier from age grade into adult. So that is something that we're looking into, and there'll be comms will come out about that nearer the time.
Okay, and the other issue I had back in September, when club memberships are up for renewal, there's been a couple of my ladies players who haven't gone anywhere at the club, but they've just simply renewed their membership. Now, they might not just be a sole player, they might be a family membership with children at the club. There was, I think, 2 or 3 women who obviously are going to have kids at the club who do play for us. When I think it was a match card issue back in September, I wasn't able to just use the drop downs to simply add them into the match card. The system wasn't recognising them at all. Now, I don't know if that was something that the parent was doing because of reaffirming all of the children's details and paying a membership again, or whether it was something that I was doing. And I know that my head coach was quite annoyed with me because I think we we got lost a couple of points on that.
Yeah, I think you'll need to log that as a ticket, Dawn, and we can look into it. As long as they've been assigned to the playing squad, you should be able to assign them to match cards. So if you've got any examples or it's still happening, then log it as a ticket and we can look into that for you.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to, conscious of time, and final question, because Dave's had his hand up for ages. So it'd be good to drop this in. And if you're just having a think, if you think this session's been useful, just drop it in the chat. If you want us to theme it, if that'd be better, put your thoughts in the chat whilst Dave's asking his question. That'd be really helpful. Dave, over to you.
Yeah, it's hopefully quite a quick one. I'm actually looking at my own club here, and I'm looking at the unverified emails. And I've got one for an under 18 player who came in from another club. So he had his parents' email address on him. I've gone in and removed parents' email address, but it's still showing that email address on the unverified email spreadsheet, effectively. But it's not on his details. Now, I removed that a couple of weeks ago, so it's not the, I was expecting it to be the sort of 24 hours thing.
I believe that's actually a bug that we've got at the moment that we're investigating.
Excellent.
Where it's when you go onto the details. When you go onto the details, it will see that it's been removed and you can't see an email. But then when you go to the spreadsheet, like the list of players, you'll still see the email address occurring on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we're currently looking at.
So I'll just ignore it for now then.
For now, yeah, it is a bit frustrating. I know when you're trying to clear it because you think, well, I've deleted this, I shouldn't have to do it again. But yeah, that is currently something we're looking
It's
through.
just that he's a February 2005 born, so we're gonna try and find his real email address and pop that in and get him to verify it anyway. Now he's 18, and I want him to, because we want him to be playing senior next year, so I needed to be able to doing that for them.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get this cleared up before I bother with that.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Okay.
Just on emails, sorry, I've been butting in. Just on emails, I mean, I did a blitz yesterday and removed all the duplicates, or I thought I did, and I've now got adult players that haven't got email addresses. So the mandatory thing about having an email with your adults, I was able to delete them yesterday. So you've given us the ability to delete duplicates, but I can delete anything, I think. So that might be a bit too efficient.
Well,
Cheers.
Yeah.
Martin, just want to pick up whilst I've got Steve Green on the phone, just one question just around the websites. I think Rob Fisk popped that question in the chat. Steve, are there any plans to update the website from an FSI perspective?
Yeah, I mean, if there's individual requests for websites, we can action them. I just popped in the chat there. There's a club websites at First Sports email address. If you can send your queries through to that, we'll look into it and see what we can do.
That's great. Cheers, Steve. And Angie, we'll take that away and feed that in your question around individual profiles and team management. So thanks for
I did put a little note in there to say that you can click on the surname and a side comes up to be able to edit it. So if you need anything else that isn't on there, can you log a ticket so we know what you're actually looking for?
No, yeah, definitely. It was only that I find systems that are really useful are where you can access everything you want from everywhere. So I was just expecting to click on the player's name and to see their actual profile. So I could see their family members, I could see their membership, I could, their actual profile. But unfortunately, you have to come out and find them in people to do it.
That would
be really good to have it interlinked.
Yeah, what we need to do is we need to get you to log that as a suggestion for change, which you can do on a ticket on the help portal. And then what we do is obviously we get quite a lot of those. We don't have infinite resources. So what we do is we put those to the platform for rugby user groups and we just look at the national appetite. And then we're able to go through and deliver which ones obviously prioritize, which ones are urgent or which ones are has the national appetite for them. So we go ahead.
No. I have done them in the past. It obviously doesn't have the national appetite because it never gets done. So I've done it over the past few years and I drop it in every now and again and various things.
It's worth a try. Maybe 1 year.
You don't ask, you don't get. Thanks so much, guys. This has been great.
Right, guys, thanks for coming. We'll look to, thanks for all the feedback that's come in. We'll look to do these sessions on a more frequent basis for the foreseeable future. And we'll look at doing some demos as well of certain aspects, which may help as well. So look out for the sessions. We'll probably we base the session time based on the amount of tickets raised and when they are, and this time and Tuesday lunchtimes are the highest amounts by some way. So look out for that again, and we'll plan them in advance so people can get feedback from colleagues at the club if there are any questions they want to ask. So that will help you guys. But yeah, great to see you all, and hope you have a good rest of the day. Thank you for your time.